The year is nearly over, and I want to discuss the goals of the channel moving into 2025. Before I do so, I want to give some thanks, and I would like to give some background as to the other places where I make online works. So firstly, thank you for 1,500 subscribers. We hit the goal a couple days ago, and I made a little community post about it. But I'm just very thankful for everyone who's been watching and subscribing, and even if you're leaving negative comments, thank you for being a part of the process, because this channel is meant to be a dialect back and forth. Sure, I'm making the videos, but the comment section is open for a reason, and you see me active there for a reason too. Part of why I do this is that I'm wanting to have a discussion about the things we're talking about, right? Now, some background, YouTube is not where I got started when it came to doing online works. I'm going to try to avoid using the C word, and that word is content. I hate that word because, truth be told, a lot of people's content is closer to art, and a lot of what I do is closer to works. It's not that I'm trying to just make a thing for the sake of making a thing, right? So I got started doing gun writing back in 2018. I've written for the same website for 6.5 years now. It used to be called the Firearm Rack, now it's called Primer Peak. I have the most recent articles I've uploaded here. And we have a queue, so it's not like, you know, I read an article and it's up immediately. It goes into our queue. But you'll notice some crossover, right? Talking about the Roscoe, some quality control discussion, talking about the Bodyguard 2.0. I have some things like the book reviews, watch reviews, visited the Browning Firearm Museum in Ogden and photographed all the guns there. You can find me on Primer Peak, and this is where I'm primarily doing a lot of my works, right? I'm also helping a buddy's website get off the ground, rangerival.com. I'll link both websites down below, but I'll mostly be doing editing work over there for the writers that are on the staff at Range Rival. YouTube comes into play because I was not unhappy with what the writing I was doing, but I wanted to make it something that would be more satisfactory for me. I got into writing in 2018 because I wanted to shed some light on shooting drills that I really enjoyed. Because I'm a practical handgun shooter. I wanted to show what I was using to get better. But then it led into product reviews because I was a broke college kid and I only had so much money to spend for things. And I'm sure that you've seen it and I've seen it. The number of people who buy things and the thing sucks, right? And you may have seen positive reviews, you may have seen negative reviews, or maybe you didn't even look at all. My goal was that if I was going to be reviewing something, it was going to be totally truthful and unbiased. It's going to be based on my own experiences, and I would try to extensively test things as much as possible, right? I've never done paid reviews. I've never taken money from a company. I've pretty much only generated revenue doing this as through Patreon and like ad revenue on YouTube, right? And I've worked day jobs during this process, so it's not like this was a thing that was so successful that it was going to be the sole thing. But the point being is that I was going to be unbiased throughout all of my works. That hasn't changed, but I wanted to up the production quality of what I was doing. And that came in the form of better still pictures to go into the articles, and then recording video. This Canon T7 was super important during COVID for my photography because it allowed me to take better pictures than what I was taking at the time. I was using a smartphone, which, obviously smartphones can do a lot of great work when it comes to still photography, but a camera gave me way more depth. When you're photographing guns and gear, I found that it was just so much better. I've upgraded the camera since then to a EOS R10. Very happy with it, but that's not the discussion for today. The still photography got better. I wanted to start doing video stuff to combine with the written works. So if I was going to show a shooting drill, I can now have a video of me demoing the drill to go into the article. If I am doing testing of a gun, like I did a review of this Glock 48 at the start of the year, I can have all of the shooting that I've ever recorded for shooting drills get rolled into that review. So it kind of took the form of supplemental or B-roll footage to roll into my articles. So I primarily do the writing, and YouTube was more of a side thing. That really hasn't changed. I really enjoy the channel, but the writing is still the primary goal. However, what did change was wanting to do more tabletop content within those articles. So I reviewed the Smith & Wesson 442 last year, and I had a video showing how to field strip a J-frame revolver, and then how to lubricate the gun and keep it clean, right? This isn't that 442, but it's a J-frame. I started rolling in more tabletop stuff as it became pertinent to the written works I was working on. In September of this year, 2024, I got into a pretty massive car accident, and I've talked about it at length, so I'm not going to go super detailed, but I effectively couldn't be as active as I was before. I couldn't go out and shoot for like a month and a half. I had to kind of take it a little bit lower key, which got me back into my home studio doing more tabletop stuff because I couldn't go out and do the alternative, right? One thing I realized is that I really enjoy doing the tabletop stuff. I really enjoy making video. Now, obviously, I've been doing it for years with the GoPro strapped to my head, but that's a little bit, I hate to say it like this, but that's just easier for me to do. Camera goes on the head, I, start talking, and then I do the shooting, right? Fairly simple stuff. With doing these tabletop videos, I have to kind of go into it with a little bit more game plan, but I found that I was enjoying it. So one of my goals going into next year is to do more YouTube-centric videos. I know that might seem like, well, it's already on YouTube, so what do you mean? Doing videos just for YouTube. They might get rolled into an article, but the intent is not that they are supplementary to an article, right? That is one of my big goals that I've got. So it could be simple things like talking about qualities that I like in a good wristwatch or a dive watch. None of the videos are ever going to be a, you need this thing. I think that, again, as someone who's worked in an industry that is totally full of shills and paid actors and whatnot, there is so much of, and I hate to say fear-mongering, but in both watches and guns, you'll see people doing videos or articles saying, you need this. If you don't get this, you're behind the times or something. And I think a lot of it is really just marketing BS, trying to drive views, purchasing, all that kind of stuff. And I don't think that's very controversial to say that, but I'm still saying it, right? So my goals for next year are going to be to do more tabletop stuff, more dedicated YouTube stuff, and then I might change how I do the GoPro shooting videos. I might do a second channel that is just raw shooting footage because, truth be told, that starts to clog up the channel, having hundreds and hundreds of videos of me out in the desert shooting various drills that I'm working on, or just showing the raw B footage of testing out guns. I can still keep the pertinent stuff here, but I might unlist a lot of the current videos and just make them into playlists, which are, I already do playlists on the channel, but even more playlists, so that's not a guarantee, but I might do that, certainly on the block. But I want to outline a couple of things I am going to be directly doing. You will be seeing these. So I already recorded a watch review for the Signum Cuda. That is not this watch. This is my Tag 1500. I have a recorded review of the Signum Cuda, which will be going up sometime next week. And then I'm going to be talking about holsters next month. The timing might be a little bit goofy because I am attending SHOT Show down in Las Vegas next month, but I'm going to be discussing my favorite holsters for belt carry and then for pocket carry. You can see two of them here. We have JM Custom Kydex and then a holster. I'll talk more into detail about these, but if you watch the channel and watch the gun stuff, you've already seen these holsters pretty much. But I want to discuss holsters. There's going to be more watch reviews coming out soon. I say more reviews. There's going to be a review of that Signum and then maybe some almost discussions about qualities of certain watches I like. Talking sizes, straps, things of that nature. Kind of more rambly, but I think that they would be fun. And again, there's never been a goal of you need this thing. It's just, hey, here's my take on something, here's my perspective, here's my experience. Maybe you can glean some value from it. Now, I mentioned SHOT Show 2025. I will be attending. I'll be going for 3 or 4 days of the show. You'll probably see some video footage from SHOT Show here on the channel. I'll be attending Range Day, which is where I record a lot of the footage, because I'm actually out there shooting the guns, trying out the gear. Maybe we'll get some interviews with people going. If you'll notice, the audio sounds a little bit different. I am experimenting with a wireless microphone, so this will likely be getting used next month at SHOT Show, as long as the audio turns out good. So you'll be seeing some SHOT Show content. So, and again, I said content. I hate to say content. Works. So more firearm stuff, certainly more watch stuff, and yeah, kind of anything pertaining to things that you carry on your body. Obviously, the watches are more fun. The firearms are more practical, but it'll be a topic of discussion there. And I've got my little Swiss Army knife. Before I end the video, I do want to give some shout-outs to people that I really appreciate here on YouTube. These are all folks that are friends of mine. These are people that I have interacted with a lot, some in person, some wholly online, but I want to direct you towards their YouTube channels or where they make works. And I'll link all of that down below. The first one is Mr. Tim Johnson. Tim is someone that is a close friend. We do a live show together. He does a ton of great stuff with watches and flashlights and EDC gear. he's just a great guy. I want you to watch his channel if you can. Again, link down below. He is someone that really has a great take on a lot of what he does, and I just think it's fantastic. And his comment section is a discussion. It is not just that he is making the video and then people are watching it not there. It's an interaction, and that's the thing I really dig. The next person is Mr. Jim Kincaid. Jim is crazy, and I say that in the nicest, most positive way possible. He is hurling watches around, G-Shocks all over the place. He's just a really fun guy. We have done a couple of live shows together, Jim, Tim, and I, which, you know, for me as Paul, it makes it hard for me to know Tim, Jim. It's like, you know, it's like thing one, thing two, but in a fun way. I would recommend Jim's channel if you really like to see hard use watches getting used in a harsh manner. The next watch channel is Mr. Working Man's Watches. I really enjoy his different style. I'm sure that he would word it in a more crass way, but he is different. I like that he is half in the bag with craft beer when he's doing half of his reviews. And I like that he and I have a lot of the same taste in watches, which has influenced us in certain ways. So I think that's pretty, you know, for me, I'm kind of intrinsically enjoying that. But I think his content, I said it again, I think his video works are really, really entertaining and informative. So I'd recommend his channel. For the last watch person I want to mention is Mr. Skylar Santana. Again, link down below. Skylar's more active on Watch Crunch, but he's certainly active here on YouTube. He is really energetic. He's really entertaining. And I can appreciate what he does with watches, where he's doing his own builds. He's looking at a lot of small brands and micro brands. And I can appreciate that he really cares about that community aspect when it comes to watches. A lot of it feels more like people are making videos because it might allow them to get, you know, free samples or this or that. He's really making videos so that he can just have a communication and a conversation with people, which I think is awesome. For the firearm side of things, I want to give a shout out to Engineer's Armory. He does great videos. They're very, very detailed, very deep dives into a lot of guns, but generally speaking, mostly 1911s. If you want to learn how to do a trigger job or how to tune a sear or how to tune a sear spring, he is the man. I also love that he has a great sense of humor. His video on his PP port that's in the shape of a certain phallic thing is hilarious. I think it's really entertaining. So give Engineer's Armory a watch. And then I want to shout out Hipster Tactical. Matt over at Hipster Tactical is a really, really enjoyable guy. I love his perspective on things because he looks at firearms in a different way than I do. And I think that his production quality with the music that he makes himself and his footage and just his personality is awesome. So please give him a watch. I think he's a great channel. And the last person or people I'd like to shout out are my editor, Dan, and his wife. Obviously, Dan is my editor, but we've worked together for a long time, and we're very, very good friends at this point. We have had a lot of experiences over the years. He nearly blew me up with an M1 Garand loaded with the wrong ammo a couple years ago, but I don't hold that over his head too much. He is an important thing for me as a writer because he is my editor. He's catching things that I might not see, but also he is someone that I can bounce ideas off of, and we both do that to each other, of discussing, you know, do you think this is a good idea, you know, this or that. And of course, his wife, we have taken classes together, shooting classes together. Seeing her growth as a shooter has been awesome, but also she acts as almost like a outside perspective for a lot of stuff, which is great because she's into the same things that Dan and I are into, but she can still look at it from a different perspective, which I think is fantastic to have for people making stuff, because it can be very easy to get stuck in your own head when you're doing a lot of writing or videoing or whatnot. So I want to thank everybody there. I'll link everyone's channels down below, and I'll link Dan's Primer Peak authors page. Running out of breath here because this video is getting long. And I wanted to, again, thank everybody who's watched this far into the video. So thank you for 1,500 subscribers. Thank you for just being along for the journey. And I hope that your New Year's is very good. We've got no secret code phrase for the end of this video because I'm just very thankful for you to be here. So thank you for watching.